Okay, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the fifth session of Readers Leaders Community. Today, we are going to talk about academia in Kenya and how best we can do as students to just make sure we we emerge out of school with the right skills and the right talents and be globally competitive. So first things first, I'm going to ask Meltreen to introduce herself, tell us what you do and some of your interests.
Okay. Thank you so much for introductions. I'm Meltreen Sikele Wanyonyi. And what else am I supposed to say? What I do?
Yeah, what you do.
Okay, so currently I'm a student, a master's student. I'm pursuing my master's degree in international development studies. So it's called Erasmus Mundus Joint Master's Degree in International Development Studies, abbreviated as GLODEP, our Global Development Policy. Prior to that, I did my undergraduate in actuarial science in JQuat. So, and the master's I'm doing in Europe, but now I'm in Kampala, so you can see I'm all over the place. And then I was working before I did my master's, I was working as a research and data associate at Eldotech Consultancy in Eldoret. And then, of course, now I am in my fourth semester where I'm supposed to do my internship or research stay. So I am currently an intern at African Mission, an Italian organization, Institute for International Cooperation and Development. So it has offices in Kampala and Moroto, and I'm currently based in the Moroto office in the monitoring and evaluation department. Yes. Anything
Okay,
else?
I think that will do for now.
Okay.
Yeah, and I'm going to ask Bruno Kibali to introduce himself. Bruno, please.
All right. Hi, everyone. My name is
Hi.
Kibali Brunner. Hi, Meltreen. Thank you, Kelvin, for the invite. I'm happy to be here today. So, what am I doing right now? I am an associate technical architect at Dimension Data, Middle East and Africa. I'm also a freelancer working with INSOC Services as a network developer and technical writer. And I graduated from the Jomo Kenyatta University of Agriculture and Technology just a few months ago, actually I think last month, with a degree in telecommunication and information engineering. I will say more about me when my time comes because I've prepared for that. At this point, I would like to give it back to Kelvin. Take it away.
Thank you, Bruno. And it's actually interesting that KCC results were released just on Monday. And I know you are celebrating those who passed, but there's something that really caught my eye, and that is 5 out of 6 students did not get the required grade to join university. So already that can tell you something about our education system. If 5 out of 6 don't get the required grade, then I think that is not a very good statistic. It should at least, if worse, be half. But today we're going to talk about higher education, and I personally believe that the capitalization rate is not good. We don't really we don't really convert the potential of the students that come from high school and join campus. We don't convert that potential into skills and talents and the intelligence that can really drive our country forward. And that is what we want to focus on today. So I'm just going to ask Meltreen, according to her, what does she think of what is the status of higher education in our country right now?
Talking about public institutions, not the private institutions, I think it's not really adequately preparing the students for what is out there, for the job market, for any skills they might require to move into the job market in future. So I really don't think it's adequate, and something should be done. Anyway, something always needs to be done, but I hope we get there.
Yeah, so what are some of the things you think the schools are not doing or the institutions are not doing?
Okay, of course, I was studying in a Kenyan institution, in a public institution, of course, JKUAT. Most of you can relate. First of all, I would really take note of the absenteeism of the lecturers. So, like, you would wake up, you have a class at 7, and then you struggle to wake up. And then once you get to class, it's raining and it's really early in the morning. And then just after 30 minutes, you get a text from the lecturer. The class representative gets a text and says, oh, the class has bounced. Of course, it used to be a cause of celebration when the text would come the previous night as opposed to the morning. But still, I mean, we celebrated missing the classes, but it's nothing to celebrate, actually. It should not be the case. And then also, I think we are more prepared for examinations than to grasp the content of what we are really learning, because you find that when it comes to time for exams, then we would transnight and cram something that we had been taught the whole semester in one night, and then the exam comes, we pass or fail, and then we forget. So what's the point of just studying for exam instead of studying to gain knowledge? So I think it's not really adequately preparing us for the job market. And it also does not include the relevant skills, the soft skills, or like it doesn't really focus on any particular area of interest. You just thought about this and this and this and this, a mixture of things that aren't really relevant to some of us. And then at the end of it, you just require something, just a tiny bit of all the information you've been equipped with, or maybe you have to go and start another refresher training once you get to the job market. So I think they should really narrow down their scope of work, or their scope of like the teaching, and also seriousness in terms of the lecturers, also seriousness in terms of the students, which is so hard to attain. But I mean, if you're motivated to study what you're studying, you should be focused and serious. Yes, so, and the seriousness in terms of the students, it comes about when like you are forced to study something that you don't want to study. So you just study to get the degree. Okay, mom, here is your degree, I'm done. But I mean, if you just are allowed to study what you want to study, then someone will be focused and someone will have passion and be motivated.
Yeah.
That's basically it. Yeah.
I think in Kenya, even to my observation, we really study for the paper or to pass exams as opposed to actually retain the knowledge. And personally, I think maybe I realized this a bit late, but it's never too late. So yeah. And then as someone who has had the opportunity to study both in Kenya and abroad, you say you studied in Europe. Can you just compare higher education in both regions and tell us who is doing better or what we can learn from the other side?
Okay, so actually I've got an opportunity because the Erasmus program, it's like the Intra-Africa Mobility Scheme, in case anyone knows. So you get to study in different universities in different countries for each semester. So for example, in my program, my first semester was in Czech Republic, which is the coordinating institution. And then I went to France for my second semester, and then I went to Italy for my third semester. And now I'm in Uganda, close to home. And then now I go back to Czech Republic for my exams and graduation. So that's like one key thing to note. Like it's the Erasmus, it's becoming like a buzzword or something. Like it's the future of Europe. All universities are struggling to get into the program. I know Africa also has a similar thing, but it's not picked up yet. So many students in Europe, they would really, every time you would ask them, okay, so what are your plans for the next semester? They would always tell you, oh, I'm trying to apply for this Erasmus in this country. And so you would see that you get experiences from different universities. And the good thing about this is that you get to, like, you see, one university, like, let's give an example of JKUAT. JKUAT is really specialized in engineering and the technical subjects. We go to KU, they're better in the social sciences. Let's say okay, let's say Egerton. Resi is from Egerton. I know my sister was there, so they're more agriculture, like related. So let's say of course, in the course of your studies, for example, the first semester, I was studying development theories and development geography. It's more specialized in the university in Czech Republic. Going to France, they were more specialized in the econometrics and, quantitative studies. So you get to get your professors who are specialized in this area and, learn from them, which is a good thing. Instead of just staying in one university and you don't have adequate lecturers or professors who have knowledge of a certain area, so you just taught subjects according to the availability of the lecturers. So that is one thing. And then another thing is, okay, I know we are in Africa and still we have this big difference in terms of social class. We have the very rich, we have the very poor. Of course, the middle class is the majority, but this also it gives rise to a lot of private institutions and public institutions. So, like for example, Czech Republic is ranked as one of the least unequal countries. I mean, they have equality, the equality index. So they're very, like, there's no difference between the classes. And I once asked this a Czech president, like, okay, so do you guys have private institutions? Because like the public institutions, they look better than our private institutions in Kenya. And he was like, we have them. Actually, he didn't even know if they have private institutions because he couldn't answer that question. For us in Kenya, we would be like, oh yeah, we have this international school, we have this is a public institution. So you get that there's no really much difference between the public and the private. They all get the same level of teaching, the same level of learning. Because for us, if you go to maybe a private institution, you'd be more equipped with the relevant skills because they are taught better, they are taught how to do this, they are taught how to do. You can see there's a difference in the teaching. So, yeah. That is another comparison. Another thing, let me just say one last thing because I don't want to start talking a lot. Yes. Another thing is, okay, I know we are going to talk about this, but like many people were asking me once I got the scholarship, like, so we need to write a motivation letter. And then after writing the motivation letter, what do they check the academic performance and everything? But I was like, so I didn't know how to answer this. So what I did, I asked someone who has knowledge of the application, because by then I was still new to the system. And they told me that once you're done with the motivation letter, just make it very compelling. They don't even check. Okay, other scholars would check your grades, but they don't focus on the grades. They focus on your motivation. Yes, what you want to study, how you want to study, what you take to the table, and what you want to achieve from that. And once you get there, trust me, the exams they're not exams. Like when I went, the mode of teaching, it's more the students. So they give you a lot of research to do, a lot of presentations to make. And when the exams come, which are, I'd say, exams in quote, they're kind of like very simple, multiple choice exams. You can imagine, I'm taking a master's. But more focus, or let's say the ECTs, because they have this ECT system, they award you this ECTs. So they would focus on your attendance in class, your participation in class, the assignments you've been doing in terms of research, the content. The exams, they carry like a very, very low grade as compared to the content of the semester. So that's the major difference. For us in Kenya, whatever we've been learning during the semester, our attendance in class, our participation in class doesn't really matter. What matters 100% is the exams, which shouldn't be right. Yeah. I was celebrating in class when I saw like most of the exams were multiple choice. So very easy. Yeah.
Okay, and we cannot be that bad that we don't have one good thing that we do that they don't do, according to us, or compared to them. So tell us one good thing that you think Kenya is doing that they should emulate.
one good thing that we are doing is we are hardworking. We, like we've been brought up with this mentality: you go to school to study, don't, which is not so good, because people don't even have time for other activities like clubs and societies or sports. But like really, Kenyans are hardworking. You go to school, you focus, you study. We had a debriefing meeting before we left for Europe, like the students who were awarded the scholarships in various countries. And the only advice we were given is, don't study. Don't go to study, because come on, you're Kenyans. Even if we tell you don't go to study, you'll still go to study. So because that's how you've been brought up, you're hardworking. This is what took you to school. So yeah, that is like the very good thing that I can upload.
Okay. Thank you, Meltreen. And then, so what are some of the, now that we know that the status of our higher education is not so good, and maybe does not really favor the students. So what are some of the personal initiatives that students can engage to emerge skillful and quite competitive despite the system inefficiency? Because we know that now we are competing with people globally. It's not just us within Kenya, because even startups are being started in Kenya by foreigners, and they even invite some foreigners to work on those startups. So it's now a global competition. Yeah, and before you answer this, I think I'm just going to ask Brunner to give his presentation in
Yeah.
about 7 to 10 minutes. Brunner.
All right. So I already introduced myself. This is me. I took this picture last month, I think. And this is when I graduated with a BSc in telecommunication and information engineering. And by the time I was graduating, I already had 2 jobs going. So I already had a freelance job with Insoft Services as a network developer and technical writer. At the same time, I also had started on a new role as an associate technical architect at Dimension Data, Middle East and Africa. No, I'm not putting this up to brag or anything, but I'm putting it up to just encourage you all, that especially those who are in school, that it really is possible to graduate, and by the time you're graduating, you already have a job. So our agenda for today, in my not more than 10-minute presentation, I will be talking about basically demystifying marketable skills. I'll also talk about how a university student can acquire such marketable skills. And finally, we'll get to talk about how to effectively use LinkedIn to showcase those skills. So first and foremost, what are some of the marketable skills? Now, this could be divided into 2. We have the hard skills and we have the soft skills. So the hard skills are more or less the tangible kind of expertise or skills, which include things like engineering, accounting, construction, and even software development. And these are mostly developed through training activities, such as going to universities and taking on a technical course, for instance. Then you also have soft skills. And this includes skills such as communication. Are you able to communicate and talk to people? Are you able to solve problems? How good are you with managing your time? And can you engage people from a point of an empathetic point? Now, getting back to the question that Kelvin asked me. So how do you go about acquiring such skills? Especially for university students who may not have the extra money to invest probably in another degree or something of the sort. And based on my personal experience, this is what I did. So the first thing that I did was take on online courses, because for me, university has always felt like it's more of an academic undertaking, as opposed to an undertaking that is supposed to actually prepare you for the industry or for the job that you're going to take. And I'm saying this coming from a point of, having scored an A in high school and just going through the brutal academic process in Kenya, pretty much studying the entire day while in high school. When I was coming to university, for me, my focus was on getting skills that will get me a job, and not necessarily going through the same cycle of just studying for exams for the sake of exams or for the sake of prestige, in the sense that you've scored an A or a first class honors. So with that in mind, this is the approach that I took, taking online courses. So we have quite a number of online academies that provide very cheap or free courses that focus more on the industry relevant skills or the marketable skills. An example of such an online academy is Udemy. You could get a lifetime access to a practical hands-on course on Udemy for as low as 1,000 shillings. We also have several other academies such as Coursera, Pluralsight, etc. that, for example, at a rate of just 5,000 shillings, you could get access to the entire platform for a month, etc. The second approach that I took was taking on internships. By the time I was graduating, I had done 5 internships. So that pretty much means right from first year, I applied for and enrolled in internship programs. Some of them paid, some of them didn't pay. But for me, I feel like the most important thing, especially when still in school, is the experience and the skills that you will get to gain while you enroll on such internship programs. Because for me, I believe the main reason as to why I immediately got a job, even before graduating, is the fact that I had already developed experience through those internships. So I pretty much knew what the industry expected and what I needed to work on for me to get back to some of those companies. Then another thing is that while taking some of these internship programs, I remember I took one of my internship programs at Safaricom and at Internet Solutions, and they do have their own learning portals. So once you are enrolled as an intern, you also have access to such learning portals. So you can use the time to actually take on online courses in their portals and even get certified while as an intern. So that's one of the benefits of going for internship programs. And the third approach that I took, one of the things that worked for me, is also being active in clubs and societies. If I'm to take an example of Jomo Kenyatta University, because that's what I'm familiar with, we have clubs such as Toastmasters, which focuses on public speaking and leadership development. We have Rotaract, that focuses more on just serving the community and building a social muscle. The Society of Engineering Students, the Society of Computer Science and IT Students, and even the Environmental Club. Now, just how important or how relevant are clubs and societies when it comes to preparing you for the workplace? Or what skills do they help you develop while at it? For example, at this point in time, as an associate technical architect at Dimension Data, I'm responsible for, first and foremost, engaging with the company clients. And these are people from the entire hierarchy in the companies. So I engage both with engineers, I engage with the company CEOs and the company CTOs at all levels as an architect. And one of the things that has really positioned me for such a role is the fact that since I was a member of a club such as Toastmasters that helped me develop my communication leadership skills, I could more easily fit into such a role and just take it head on. By being a member of societies such as the Society of Engineering Students, and being part of committees such as the Projects Committee, etc., and just attending their meetings, I was also able to develop my technical muscle. So just by being a member of such clubs and societies, I was able to develop both my hard skills and soft skills. So those are the 3 approaches that worked for me, and the 3 approaches that I would recommend students in university to take. Enroll for online courses. Save up the 1,000 shillings if you can, and invest in a course on Udemy that will give you more practical and hands-on skills. I'll give an example. For example, if you're taking on a course such as, let's say, statistics and economics, one of the marketable skills in the statistics and economics space is data science and machine learning. And I'm almost completely sure that if you look at the curriculum for such a course in the university, in a Kenyan university, you realize there's no data science or machine learning course unit in the curriculum. But you could very well just go and sign up in Udemy for a course for 1,000 shillings, and you're given the entire content and hands-on skills on how to apply data science and machine learning in your field. That's just one example. So online courses, do internships, and actively take part in clubs and societies. And not just as a member in clubs and societies, if you can take up on leadership roles in such clubs and societies, then that will even position you more strongly to develop such hard and soft skills. And finally, how can one use LinkedIn to showcase their skills? So on the right, I'm displaying a screenshot. This is when I posted something a month ago, the time when I graduated. So I'm just talking about the things I've done in school. For example, I've done 5 internships, the number of online courses I've done, 50, and just that kind of a thing. And this one post attracted around 200,000 views, around 3,000 likes, and I think around 300 comments. And my key message here is LinkedIn can give you a lot of visibility and really build your brand. Just from making this post, I think I received close to 5 job offers just from this alone. And so the key point here is LinkedIn can really gives you a platform to build your brand and just put you out there in the world. And this does not run in isolation. So there are a number of things that you also have to do when it comes to LinkedIn so as to effectively position yourself in such a platform. So for one, you have to create engaging content such as this. And creating engaging content alone does not stand by itself. Another thing, you have to work on your profile. So complete your LinkedIn profile. There are quite a number of sections on the LinkedIn site. For example, it allows you to actually list the projects you've done, the skills that you have, your experiences, both volunteer and also internships, patents if you have some, and also a place for recommendations and endorsements. So first and foremost, you really need to complete this entire profile such that, for example, if you get to post such content, then a person can immediately just go look up your profile and know these are your skills and this is how you can be able to add value to the organization or to whichever project they're working on. And the thing, you have to contact and connect with industry professionals. And how exactly does this help? By being on LinkedIn, for example, it gives you a very easy option of connecting with, for example, a senior engineer in your field. For example, if you're doing mechatronics engineering, you could very easily just connect with a senior mechatronic engineer in the field and start having conversations on what you need to work on, probably what you need to learn, what skills you need to develop, so that you could, for instance, get an opportunity to join their company. And that's just one example. And another thing that I need to mention before I get done with presentation is also on a platform such as LinkedIn, you really need to have employee professional etiquette. So do not treat LinkedIn as your Instagram or as your Twitter page. Take the angle of, this is where I'm building my professional brand. This is more like my online resume. So put your best foot forward, put your best image forward on such a platform. And that's pretty much it about my takes on how to go about acquiring those skills while in university. I hope I have answered the questions that you may have. And Kelvin, I will give it back to you in case you need any clarifications, or in case we have any questions, or in case I wasn't clear on anything, then I will respond to that. Thank you for your time.
Thank you so much, Bruno Kibali. That was a lovely presentation, and personally, I have learned a lot on what you've had to say. And yeah, I think I'll now start working on my LinkedIn profile with a bit more oomph. And now we go back to Meltreen. So Meltreen, you got a very prestigious scholarship, and I think it's very competitive. So you tell us, what are some of the skills, or what are some of the things that you did to just set you up to get such a scholarship?
Okay, hi. Thank you, Brunner, for the presentation. So I did what Brunner said we should do. Okay, I'm kidding. So actually, I enrolled on some EDX. There's also EDX for the online courses, which is free. I'm currently taking some free Italian courses, and then yes, I'm just saying, like for me, from what I have taken from Brunner's presentation, and then I also managed to join Rotaract. I was a member and president of the Rotaract Club of JQuat, which really exposed me to a lot of opportunities. And I should even say that Rotaract motivated me to pursue my master's degree. Because like I said, I did actuarial science, which is basically mathematics and statistics. I enjoyed the classwork, I enjoyed the learning, I enjoyed the exams. But once I got to the job, I didn't like it. I preferred more, I was looking more forward to the weekend where I would join Rotaractors, doing community service, and so I got to think, okay, how can I bridge this gap between actual science and my passion for development, community development? So that's what I thought. When I was applying for the scholarship, my motivation was I want to get into development research. So I want to do research, but for development. So that's like the thing. You would first of all have to know the motivation why you're pursuing the scholarship. It's not actually it. I applied for, first of all, you just don't apply. You focus on what you want to do, and then there's a lot of scholarship opportunities. So like they would say, you have to diversify your risks. What if I apply to this one and I don't get? I also have this other one that maybe I have gotten. And actually, I applied to a lot of scholarships, and I had by then I got two scholarships. One was to go to Spain and study development economics, offered by the African Women Foundation or something. So, and the thing is, the one I got currently is the main one I was looking towards. So I had just accepted this scholarship, this main one for the Erasmus. And 1 week later, I got communication that, okay, now we are awarding you this other scholarship. Immediately, I didn't even tell them, okay, let me think about it. I just told them, oh, sorry, guys, I already got something else. You see? So I was imagining, what if this other one came before this? Maybe I would have accepted, and then later the one that I wanted, I would get feedback, and then I have to go back and drop this one. Anyway, that's just a side story. So one thing is focus on your motivation, because these people, they really want to know your motivation. Is it in line with what they want? Go to the, like for GLODEP, we like to call our course GLODEP, Global Development Policy. So they have a website where they describe the course, they describe the entry requirements, whatever courses you'd be learning. So first, just study their website or the application. It's similar to applying for a job. And then align your motivation or your interest to what they want. Like find a course, maybe for example, I would say I'm really looking forward to studying in France during the French semester, because it has more quantitative methods and econometrics, which is in line with my future career passion of doing research and data analysis for development. So at least just make them know that you are interested in their program because you want to achieve something out of it. So that's the main thing of writing a motivation letter. Otherwise, there's other things for writing a motivation letter is just be patient, because it's a really tedious work. you could take even 2 weeks just writing and reviewing and rewriting one motivation letter. And you can imagine if you want to apply for maybe 10 scholarships, that's more than 2 months of writing. But I mean, if you're interested in one area, you can just tailor one motivation letter to different scholarships you're applying for. And then another thing, of course, is whatever Brunner has presented. It was a joke at first, but now it's serious. Yeah, just, I mean, be outgoing. For me, I was really outgoing, and you could see how I would be inviting people to join Rotaract. I would go with this, very spirited personality, and even currently, there's this guy who keeps remembering how I welcome them to Rotaract. Just be outgoing, talk to people. I mean, get worthwhile connections. I mean, don't talk to everyone because you want to network, but I mean, talk to people who you really want to network with. For me, I was also a member of this Jomo Kenyatta University Actuarial Students Organization. We are the ones who revived it after it had died. I'm sure now, I don't know if it's still active, but the patron, the professor, lecturer, who was the assistant patron of Jomo J. Kwasa. We used to call it J. Kwasa. She was really, we don't really like our lecturers when we meet them in class because they're serious, they bounce classes, they give us tough exams. But once you meet them in such informal settings, I mean, I didn't know that I would once network with my lecturer and get to know something about maybe Alexander Forbes. Now it's called Zamara Actuaries. Yeah, because she was an intern there. I went to talk to her just during one of these meetings for JKWASA, and she guided me on the procedure to apply for internship. I did, and I got the internship. Through Rotaract, I know a lot of people have gotten jobs or opportunities or at least some leads on how to apply. They don't hand you, okay, you're a Rotaractor, so here's a job on a plate. No, you get some leads or some tips on how to apply. You get connections. I mean, the most important thing in university is connections when you're in Kenya, because trust me, out there, it's connections, who you know, how you know them, and how you can help them. Unfortunately, that's it. Because whatever we study in school, it's not really enough. But networking and creating connections is a step forward. And then aside from Rotaract, of course, that was my volunteer experience, because I remember my program required one to do undergraduate degree in social sciences. And here I am. I didn't even have any background in social sciences. I had a bit of economics background from actuarial science, but that was my main worry because, okay, I don't have this background, but the Rotaract background, I was able to explain how I am into development and community development. And yeah, and I think that background, it got me to have at least an experience in social sciences or economics or whatever they required. So that's an additional thing, because whatever you learn in class, it's not enough. What you might find yourself, you're in Toastmasters or Readers for Leaders, and just some skill you acquired during those meetings or during interacting with people might be beneficial once you make your applications in future. So yeah, that was it. Motivation letter. I think just focus on the motivation letter and make sure you meet all the requirements. For us Kenyans, we meet all the requirements because we have the 4 years of university, a minimum of 4 years of degree, and we are very good at English, and yes, and also very good at convincing. So yeah, the motivation letter should be convincing without adding a lot of unnecessary things. That's it.
From the motivation letter, can you tell us the process? Was it stressful? Was it expensive? Or it's actually free to apply for scholarship?
It's free. I was looking for free scholarships. I didn't want. Can you hear me? You just look for free scholarships. You don't pay anything, because once you start paying and you don't get the scholarship, there's no point of just wasting your money. I mean, if you really want it, you can go for it. And if you know you're going to get it, then you can at least spend the money. But it was free of charge. The only costs I incurred was after I got the scholarship, and I had to certify my documents, going for stamps in these government offices. You have to pay some money, and translating some documents into their languages they require. Maybe you also have to pay some money for a certified translation. Otherwise, aside from maybe the search for opportunities and the stress of writing for me, I just focus on the motivation letter. That's the main thing. Aside from that, there's no much stress, because once you know you've met all the requirements, then you should just sit back and relax and wait for your motivation letter to talk for you.
Going to ask Brunner in a minute to just give his final remarks, then Meltreen, and then I'll close the meeting.
Okay, I remember you asked Meltreen about the state of higher education in Kenya. For me, I think I've been very vocal about this, especially on Twitter. Probably it rubs off badly on some people, but for me, I feel like we're at that point where the universities have pretty much washed their hands. So we are doing enough, and there's nothing more that we can do. And the employers, on the other hand, are pretty much saying, okay, they're not having any of that. They're also saying, if people are not ready to take up on the kind of jobs that we have. And very few companies out there are really willing to take up novice graduates and train them. Very few. Most of them expect you to be up to task. And the main reason for this is the employers also know that at this point in time, we have access to too much information online. If you want to develop a particular skill, you can just go online, even on YouTube, and start working on those skills. So at a bare minimum, they expect you to know some stuff and not just to come out being completely ignorant about whatever is going on in the industry and the skills that they require. So first and foremost, you need to really recognize and appreciate the fact that most of what we're getting from university is not enough, especially for technical roles. It's not enough. So you really need to just go out there and work on those skills on your own. Probably will be difficult for some, but it's something that we all need to just accept at this point in time and move forward with it. Then I think that's it from me. At this point, I will pass it over to Meltreen. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Brunner, for coming. I really appreciate that you joined us today. And now I'll ask Meltreen to give her final remarks. Meltreen.
Yes, hi. So for me, I'd like to say thank you for this opportunity to speak to you guys, and also for the audience. Ivy, even though I've not seen you, thank you. I'm just picturing from the Ivy, some Ivy I know. I'm thinking, oh, is she the Ivy? But no. Yeah, also Bruna, thank you. You really made some points. And since I'm still a student and I'm going to be applying for some jobs soon, I'll use my LinkedIn platform. I think you will just see the post. Because I saw your post, we were not really connected on LinkedIn, but through some connections that we had, I saw your post and I liked it, of course. Because, yeah, I remembered the name from Toastmasters, and then I saw this similar connections. So, yeah, and I mean, the visibility got even like further. Yeah, and I'm going to use LinkedIn for that. And also, I'd really say like the online platform is really amazing at work. Sometimes you just apply, and there's this recruitment lady who told us, be like Americans. They make a lot of noise on their CV, like, oh, I know this. But once you're recruited, then learn about it. Okay, for me, I didn't make that much noise, but since I know that I'm a technical person, when it comes to data analysis and research, I was given this task to design some questionnaire and do some data management and, on survey solutions platform. And I had every step. I was going to YouTube. I look, okay, how is this being done? I go back and do it. And finally, you can see all the enumerators holding the tablets, and I'm explaining to them, okay, this is how the platform works. And I'm like, oh, I did this. Yes. So I didn't know how to manage a server or a database, but I learned all that. So the online platform is there for you guys. Go learn about it. Sometimes you might feel lazy. Yes, take the time, relax. Don't feel guilty about feeling lazy. But once you get just that tiny bit of motivation to do something, then do it. That's me most of the time. Sometimes I'm lazy and I say, okay, I'm just paying myself just a little bit for working too much. But once you get any bit of motivation to do something, do it. Don't force yourself because we are not machines, we are not robots. But yeah, just do something and all will be well. That is it. Thank you so much for this wonderful session.